Welcome to Commander Pop Culture, a place to gather magical information with some laughs, might I add.
Hello everyone, welcome. So you want to build kirol 10 to first year? Well, I might have the list for you. I call it
Say when.
mostly because we have a ton of cards that say the word when or whenever. So we could copy the trigger by tapping 2 creatures. Albeit we could only do it once a turn, but there are 4 players in a game of Commander, so per revolution of the table, ideally we get to activate them 4 times. Not only do we have 2 goals, we need to have our stuff trigger on other people's turns. And we need bodies in play. With that focus, we are a tokens list. And because we're tapping our creatures down, that leaves us very vulnerable. So we're also a control list. That way we keep the board empty so we don't get tagged back too terribly hard. Let's start off with some of the fun, very efficient costing stuff like Chain of the Rocks on Thin Ice. They're ETB triggers that we can copy. So for 1 mana, tapping 2 bodies down, we can exile 2 things. As for Sentinel, it has whenever someone doesn't pay a mana equal to its power, we draw a card. Thing we can copy and trigger. The other thing that I wanted to mention that you want to consider is you want to get as many effects that have when or whenever stapled to creatures, because then it'll help pay half of the activation cost of kirol. So creatures are very ideal for anything.
Anything? Yes, anything!
Want this to be as consistent as possible. We have Archivist Agma, triggers whenever someone searches the library, we have to draw a card. Deep Gnome Terramancer, let's get a plains whenever someone puts one into play, i.e. when someone plays a fetch land, cracks it, and puts one into play, this will trigger. So it should trigger a lot. Planetongue Yearling to shoot off people's creatures. It's also a body we could tap. Inti for card advantage. Knight of the White Orchid lets us tutor for planes for behind. What's weird is this might be one of also the best commanders for playing the catch-up mechanics, which Knight of the White Orchid is just one of many of those effects that gets significantly better. We have Marvin the Murderous Mimic. This basically will enable us to copy our commander's abilities, so we could activate and copy triggers twice a turn instead of just once. Same with Illustrious Bracers, and we have another thing that double our triggers, and that's Battle Mage's Bracers. So those 3 cards all enable us to get double copies in a turn. Playful Vantry, you could play it as a board wipe, but where it shines is whenever something dies, we get a treasure. It only can trigger once a turn, so you can copy the trigger, make 2 treasures every time something dies a turn. Our Archaeomancer's Map, this lets us cheat lands from our hand into play. Copy that trigger. Drum Bellower, this guy and this ring card on Prop Ring lets us untap a creature you control during each other player's untap step. So these 2 cards make us less vulnerable. There are also triggers we can copy. So if we could layer things in there, that is an option. Fable and Mirrorbreaker, I thought would be kind of fun. kirol kind of lends itself nicely to sagas because we could double each chapter trigger. I like Fable because we produce a body when we do it, so we could use it in future copy triggers. The other nice part is its backside lets us make a token copy of a creature, and that's quite significant when we play a bunch of creatures with ETB triggers. Fits quite nicely from start to finish. It's helping us do our game plan. We have Recruiter Guard and Imperial Recruiter, double tutors from a single card. Flage to keep the board empty. It does a Lightning Helix on ETB. We have Monologue Text. Or if we cast a second spell, you can make a treasure, we copy this trigger. Similar to Smuggler's Share, we draw a card when someone draws 2 or more cards. We make a treasure, someone has 2 more lands enter. That could happen on each end step for us to copy. Grasp of Fate lets us exile 6 things for 3 mana.
God have mercy!
That's a fun trigger to copy. We're kind of approaching the fun catch-up mechanics. Like Biza lets us make treasures if we're behind mana. We gain life for behind life. We make bodies for behind bodies, which are very nice for copying our triggers. More bodies is always good. Same with Heidegger. Probably pronounced that wrong, but the top paragraph is nice to copy, but the bottom paragraph is more ideal. We at NSET create a number of 1/1 soldiers, equal number of opponents to control more creatures than us. So if we're really far behind, we can make 6 tokens off of this. The key number is 6 tokens, by the way, because we need 2 bodies per turn cycle.
I'm good with calculation.
The tokens will be used on our opponent's turns to copy our triggers. Keep the cord feeds into itself too. Lets us catch up on mana, lets us catch up on bodies. The bodies themselves can be used for future triggers. Mangara lets us draw whenever someone attacks 2 or more creatures or casts 2 or more spells. Pyro deals with the creature, we can copy it. Smothering Tithe for more mana, which we can copy. Troubled Pairs, which we can copy. Because we go shields down a lot, I think One Ring is a nice card for us. Friendly Neighborhood, this puts in 3 green and white humans into play. We copy the TV trigger, so we get 6 for the threshold number. Threshold number cards, we also have Cloud Goat Ranger, Oracle's Hatcher, Siege Commander, Reverent Hoplite. These will all make us enough bodies to copy something every turn.
I need it!
Illustrious Wonderglyph does that for us as well. We have effects that trigger when our opponents do anything with Aerial Extortionist. We draw on some casts from exile. Wandering Archaic lets us copy opponents' instants or sorceries unless they pay 2. We copy that. Guardian Scale Lord, super fun. We can back up twice. Whenever a creature that's been backed up gains the bottom paragraph of Scale Lord here. So we can return 2 things from our graveyard. Legend of Yang Chen. This lets us exile 6 things on ETB. And the other stuff is nice, but we care about the exile. We like the efficiency. Same with the efficiency of Fury. Copying that trigger is super nice as well. Infernal Titan is a sweet copy trigger. Keeps the board empty. These creatures like Markov Enforcer, this triggers when our commander comes in play or itself. Lets us fight things multiple times. Overlord of the Boiler Bilges. What's kind of cool is the end step trigger lets us remove the time counter. So if we impend it, we can remove 2 time counters every end step because we can copy the removal trigger. Summon Kuja, the first chapter just lets us shoot off 4 things. Super nice. We all know what Sun Titan does. And then we got Portal of Phyrexia. It lets us hit 6 things from each of our opponents. Can double the beginning of upkeep trigger, return 2 things under our control. Cavern Horde Dragon. It has cost reduction, makes a bunch of treasures when it hits. That's a trigger we can copy. And then Moonshaker Cavalry is a finisher. The rest are just mana fixing lands. Champions of Ministerius is super fun. At the beginning of combat in each opponent's turn, they can't attack us unless they pay X or X number of cards in their hand, and we can double this trigger.
Come get some.
I have way too many cards on this list that happens on everybody's turn to give you at least something, some extra value to copy on everybody's turn. This will be a nice little pillow 40 card. Makes it so your opponents have a real hard time hitting you. And you can copy the Monarch trigger and draw 2 cards. So it's a nice card advantage piece as well. And that brings us to the end of Pyrol. If you liked what you saw, give me a thumbs up. Watch my future videos. You can also vote on what you want to see be played. And I can't wait to see you all on the 20th, which I'll be streaming. You get a sneak peek, or you can wait for the one-on-one videos to come out. Everyone take care. Have a good night. Bye.